What are the factors involved in accuracy of throwing a football or any ball? The Seahawks selected Jalen Milroe with the 96th pick in the NFL draft. If he can clean up his mechanics, he can potentially be as dynamic as Josh Allen. This got me pondering, is throwing accuracy as simple as proper mechanics, or are there more factors involved? I was watching Tom Brady's video on how to properly throw a football, and he described that energy comes from the ground and ultimately is transferred to the ball in a throw. I wasn't sure if this was a flat earth conspiracy theory or hippie talk, so I tried to find some studies that talked about this. There isn't a lot of research on throwing a football, so I went to studies done on baseball pitchers. You can analogize throwing a football to throwing a baseball. A lot of the best quarterbacks have a background in baseball. Tom Brady also described throwing like a whip. Then I thought, I wonder if there is information on how energy transfer occurs in a whip. There's an interesting video talking about the mechanics of a whip. Ultimately, it doesn't explain how energy transfer really works, so if that's what you're looking for, you won't find it. But it's an interesting video nonetheless. One study I read explained that no one really knows how whip energy transfer really works, as well as the sound barrier being broken, that is ultimately the crack sound that you hear. My thought is congruent with this theory. The speed of the tip of the whip does accelerate as the wave travels down the length of the whip, but it does not approach infinity, even if it does taper to zero radius. This led me into a deeper rabbit hole, which led me to the video about the biggest misconception in physics, which my YouTube algorithm fed me, and that energy is not conserved. This is contrary to the belief that it was in a static universe, but our universe is not static. The video explains that the universe is not symmetrical in time, and thus energy is not conserved. The video explains that energy is lost in space due to the space being bent or changes in gravitational field throughout space. The video talks about the conservation of angular momentum, which brings me back to the whip. Is the whip speeding up, or is the energy just being expressed through mass reduction, the whip getting thinner? How is this analogous to throwing a football or throwing anything in general? Much like a whip, the energy starts from the ground a little bit, slowly builds through the hips, more is built through the chest, and ultimately is transferred to the football. But how do you explain how a baseball player can throw while jumping in the air? That throws the energy from the ground theory a wrench. This is because not all energy comes from the ground. A lot of it comes from the rotation of the body. This explains how Aaron Rodgers is able to leave his feet when he throws. However, some velocity is lost in those type of throws, but when there is a throw that does not require a lot of velocity, this can be done essentially at standstill. But I'm less interested in the velocity of the throw and more about the accuracy of the throw. One study of accuracy of pitchers described that the release location variability was related to pitching success. This is congruent with which Josh Allen described and what helped him be more of an accurate thrower, the release point. Another study done on baseball pitching accuracy talked about trunk kinematics. How about throwing velocity? Does this affect accuracy? One study on elite golfers suggested that elite golfers had less velocity but more precise putter face angles at impact. How about timing? Is there a timing mechanism in the accuracy of throwing a ball? One study did 10-hour timing training with an instrument that was designed to train participants to tap their hands and feet in synchrony with target sounds. Results indicated that those participants significantly improve their accuracy. This could explain why quarterbacks tap the ball when they throw and why baseball batters may adjust their gloves or tap the ground before getting ready to hit. Could be more about timing than anything else. Makes you wonder about how much drop back is related to quarterback accuracy. After all, timing is talked about vastly in quarterback play, and you see analogous feet work similar in third baseball to quarterback.